What is going on, everyone? Jonathan here, your host for the Aymin audio experience. Today, we are with Skylar Lewis. He is the founder of Rise Up Kings, a restoration company, and a number of different projects that we're going to get into talking with him about today. So, Skylar, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, glad to be here virtually.
Yeah. Yes, seriously, virtually. And I know we're all practicing our social distancing here and finding new and creative ways to connect. Tell me about Rise Up Kings. I just want to go directly there. I'm fascinated by the platform, and if any of you who are listening to this or checking us out on YouTube, you have to go to riseupkings.com and check out what Skylar's done. This community he's forming, I think, is really impressive. Where did that idea come from? And what do you guys do? I guess tell us a little bit about that.
Perfect. So Rise Up Kings is it's really a program. It's not necessarily, it's personal growth and personal development, but I've been used to my entire life going to seminars, right? Seminars where someone's speaking at me the entire time. Mm-hmm. However, I found those to be effective, but even more effective than that is experiential learning. And so I went on a journey probably about 5-6 years ago where I dove deep into personal growth, and I was trying to find ways to reach my potential. Like, how could I max out in life and really give it my all? Because I found myself personally playing at 65-75% of my potential. And like I probably mentioned to you before, that's where a lot of guys play. And so I wanted to get past that. I wanted to play all out regularly, like consistently. And so I found that a mix of personal development and mindset training along with pushing guys physically is one of the most powerful experiences a man can encounter, right? When you have the right mindset and then you go into an environment that you normally wouldn't play all out, but because there's a bunch of other guys that are going all out and there's some physical Navy SEAL type exercises and experiences, for some reason, guys push themselves harder than they normally would push themselves. And so they get to experience playing at 100% in these events, and they walk out like, wow, I didn't realize that I haven't been playing like this with my marriage, within my business. I have not been going all out like I did at this event. And so they walk away and they say, okay, I now know what it looks like to go all out. And so that's Rise Up Kings. It's a community of men that really want to go all out in the 4 pillars, which is faith, family, fitness, and finance, right? How do we maximize and reach our potential in all of those areas?
I love that. And as a father and a husband myself, and as a businessman myself, that resonates with me a lot, right? Just because it is so hard to balance and juggle all of those things. And sometimes it feels like maybe we're falling short. And like you said, playing at 60 or 70%. And so that definitely resonates with me. Talk to me about, where this started. What part of this did you start first? Were you a business guy first? Did you get married first? Family? Kind of talk me through the evolution of what brought you to creating this for guys like you who are in this situation.
Sure. So right before Rise Up Kings, I started a company called Superior Restoration. But even before that, I started a marketing company. It ended up being somewhat successful. And how I started that was I had met my wife at this like dance club thing on a Wednesday night. They turned it from a restaurant into like a bar. Okay. And then it was like a dance club, and it was just a pretty cool spot. So I actually met her on a Thursday night. And so I met her on Thursday, and we ended up connecting. We danced and had an incredible time, and we were addicted to each other. The challenge was she was very successful. I think she was 23, I was 22. And I was dead broke, living on my friend's sofa, and just in a really bad place, just partying and just making some wrong decisions in my life. And so we met. I really had to kind of front. I was playing this front. I remember the first time we went on a date, I had no reason to wear a suit because at that point, I think I was actually trying to professionally play blackjack at the casino. So I was going to the casino every day. I went every day for 6 months. But anyway, so on the date that we had, which was like a week after I met her, I wore a suit. I put a full suit on, like totally. Like I ended up parking the car I was driving was like my dad's carpet cleaning van, this smelly Astra van. I parked it behind the restaurant, probably like a few hundred feet away. Like walked into my suit, like kind of just. It was so funny. I just totally fronted. But anyway, ended up meeting her and we kicked it off. We fell in love, and I needed to make a decision to either go find a job, which I hadn't had a job in years, or start a business. And so I asked her, I said, "Hey babe, can I borrow $1,000?" And she ended up saying yes, which was crazy. I felt weird about saying it. She said she never wanted to be with a guy that she'd have to lend money to. And so we ended up, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, what did she do at the time? Because you said she was
She
successful.
was in World Financial Group. Yeah. So
Okay.
she had, I mean, I think she had made like $500,000 at age 22, like her last year
Wow.
doing it. And
Good for
she had her
her.
own condo, BMW. She was doing very well. And I was the opposite. Yeah.
That's cool.
He was
So
the score. I'm very blessed. I definitely married above my grade for sure.
that's cool. That's really cool. So, so you meet her, you guys kick it off, you pitch her this dream. Now, is this you were borrowing money for the marketing company?
Yeah, basically to
Okay.
buy $1,000 worth of mailers
Okay.
for marketing for loans. And so I bought $1,000 worth of mailers, closed one loan, bought some more, closed another one, bought some more, closed multiple ones, hired a sales guy, hired two. We ended up getting about 19, 20 salespeople in our office in San Marcos, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Was
So right where
where
I
we,
am.
yeah, right where you are. So we actually had that office in San Marcos, and we grew that. And during that time, it was challenging to manage scaling, right? I was working 10, 12-hour days and still staying connected to her. Because in the beginning, it was great. But as we were building it, I noticed myself struggling to remember to do date nights, remember to invest, remember to do things for her regularly. And so that was kind of the journey where I noticed, okay, this is actually challenging when you have, like, if you're a single guy, great. If you start to have a wife and, we ended up getting married, a wife, and then kids. And so that was the journey where I grew that business. We sold it. And then I jumped into, I bought a carpet cleaning van because my dad was in it, because I knew marketing. And so ended up starting to scale a carpet cleaning business. And I still had those same challenges of balance and trying not to work too much. And so my struggle was always, how do I scale a company and go all out on it and still invest the time necessary in marriage? Because I'd never wanted to sacrifice marriage. So what I would do is I'd pull back from the business. I would put time into the business, and then I'd be like, you know what, I'm working too much, and I'd scale back, and it would hurt the company.
Yeah, totally.
And so I was this pendulum swinging back and forth where I'd invest in the company, but like, oh no, I'm going to do family time now. And so the company ended up getting hurt. And so I didn't know how to successfully do all of that.
How soon after you guys got married and, you have the marketing company first, but then the Superior Restoration kind of got going, how soon after that initial point with her did you guys have kids and introduce kids? Because that's a whole new dynamic, because I'm sure you know.
Yeah. So it was probably about 2 years into the carpet cleaning company.
Okay.
It was Superior Cleaning. We had a good amount of vans going out. We were actually one of the largest cleaning companies in the area. And then we found out that we really weren't making money, which was weird. And so we transitioned into restoration, water and fire restoration. So if a building floods, like, we go out there to dry it out, rebuild the whole thing. And so we transitioned into that because there was more money. And then we closed down Superior Cleaning, opened Superior Restoration. And about 3 months later, we had found out that our office manager was actually embezzling money from us. And that was the reason we weren't profitable. So she had been embezzling money for about 6 to 8 months, we found out. And so that was an interesting thing. So we're kind of disappointed. However, it pushed us into the restoration company, which was a blessing in disguise. Super challenging time, though, for all the business owners out there that are listening to this. Keep an eye on your finances, and whoever's collecting money in your company, keep a close watch on those people.
And at what point is this? So just to help give a little bit of a timeline, because I do have a question. Obviously, coronavirus is something that a lot of small business owners are dealing with, and so at what point was this? Where were you kind of in the last economic cycle, 2008, 2009?
Perfect. Yeah, so we started Superior Cleaning in 2010.
Okay. Oh,
so
wow.
in 2010, right after the financial crisis. And so we started scaling it right around that time. And it's funny that you mentioned that. I was looking at some posts on Instagram today. There was actually a good amount of companies that were started and ended up being very successful, like Airbnb during the financial crisis. And so that was right at 2010, and right at about 2012, we had my first son, Brendan.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. So I want to pivot there really quick. We talked a little bit about Rise of Kings, a little bit about the Superior Restoration. When you think about, and we'll go back there because I have a couple more questions, but when you think about, this time of hardship that a lot of people are facing, there's been so many layoffs. Obviously, the events industry, the hospitality industry, which I'm a part of, has taken a huge hit. When you see this, there's obviously a lot of, I think, fear and concern, but then there's also massive opportunity. How have you seen your businesses impacted by this current crisis we're dealing with, and coming off of your experience maybe from growing a business and at the tail end of the last crisis we were part of? What advice would you have for someone, kind of getting hit right now?
Yeah, so we ended up growing Superior Restoration from pretty much zero in 2012, because that's when we started it, to 9 million in 2019, last year. And our primary focus during some of the trying times, and what we're doing right now, is we're really heavily focused on sales and getting creative. So a lot of companies are pulling back, they're cutting ad spend, they're cutting expenses, which is great. We've cut some expenses, but then we also went all out on sales and marketing, but we're pivoting the way we do that. And so we're doing more digital marketing type strategy. So today we have a Zoom call, and we're doing a Zoom game night with a bunch of people. And so we have, I don't know if you're familiar with Jackbox.tv,
Yes.
but you
yes,
can do
I love it.
yeah. So we're doing a full game night. So we're getting really creative, and we're meeting regularly with our salespeople, and we're saying, okay, this is our time to go all out and to be one of the last companies kind of standing, per se. Like, we want to be,
Totally.
While companies are scaling back, I know multiple restoration companies that have closed or let go of almost all their employees. We want to be the company that is driving forward and going and creating success. And when this thing's over, we want to have gained market share from this. So how do we gain market share right now is really my primary focus. Like, obviously, getting cash for any business owners that are watching this, cash flow right now, and cash is critically important. So we've pulled on our line of credits. We've gotten cash from every single area that we can and just put it in our bank account just for safety. And then once we did that, we said, okay, how can we go capture market share and get creative and use the internet, use social media, use Zoom to start engaging with people in a different way? How can we be in the forefront of that while other companies are struggling keeping their doors open?
Totally. You're saying that, and I'm feeling a little bit convicted because, we have such a incredible group of people that we worked with prior, and, events just pretty much shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's a hard industry. That industry got hit. I mean, it has to be one of the hardest industries that got hit during this thing.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. And I do think, though, it's a great opportunity, because I do think, people do have to get married, right? Events do have to go on. Mm-hmm. And we had different contracts for, Coachella, Stagecoach, a lot of the larger events, but we do hundreds and hundreds of weddings each year. And so I think you're totally right. Doubling down into other areas and being creative and focusing on sales. Absolutely. You're inspiring me to.
Yeah, because those event places that have used previous companies, while those companies are doing the same thing that everybody's doing in the event space, they're pulling back. Now's the time to say, hey, by the way, we're still doing this, but we're making it looks different now, right? Mm-hmm. We're doing it this way. We're providing value this other way. Like, now could be the time to connect with those people that normally would say, hey, I already have a guy I like using. I already have a company we normally use. Now everybody's open. They're saying, okay, so if somebody's marketing to them right now, it's kind of like it's ripe for them to go out and reach out to some of those places.
Absolutely. I see that. So pivoting back, so I did say I wanted to go back to Rise of Kings. Is it typically a event driven or event based business or support community, or what else do you do kind of in the framework of?
Sure. Yeah. So Rise Up Kings got hit pretty hard from this thing because we had to cancel our events. So it's mainly an event driven business. So we put on these pretty epic events out here in Newport Beach. We've had to cancel all of them. Mm-hmm. And those normally transition into a mastermind. So, right, we teach some powerful concepts. We help guys see what it looks like to go all out. We give them some some new training on how to scale their business and what habits they need to have in place. And then we roll them into a mastermind. And then that helps ingrain the habits that they learned during the event, right? And so we're meeting every 2 weeks. And so we're still having the masterminds. Luckily, we're doing all those virtually, but we have no new people entering the masterminds or the events at this point. But it's a twofold thing. It's the events plus monthly or every other week mastermind get-togethers virtually now.
Definitely. Yeah. For both those, for both Superior Restoration and for Rise Up Kings, and as you know, you've been talking about doing more things virtually, whether it's Jackbox. I love that you know about Jackbox TV too. It's one of awesome. One of the favorites. By the way, do you have a favorite game on Jackbox TV?
Jackbox, that's a great question. I would say
because there's
Drawful's pretty fun. I enjoy Drawful.
Okay.
I play that, but the one that I like the most is the whatever the most popular one is. It's
the Murder Party, or
the Murder Party's fun too. I enjoy that one. No, it's the
Guespionage.
Guespionage.
Yeah, the one with the little it's like the percentages or whatever.
Yeah, Guespionage is a pretty cool one. So I'm just getting back into them. So we have one actually. So what we're doing tonight is actually have I have all of our business development team. So we're gonna have about 10 people that are gonna be playing it together to test it, to see how to roll it out to all of our accounts. So we're in a major testing phase. So we're already doing Zoom meetings and Zoom happy hours. So we're inviting all of our accounts and having a drink, mailing them drinks so they can have it on the happy hour time, during the call. So we're getting creative with everything. And so we're doing a few different things. So this new game, kind of gaming with everybody virtually, is we're going to test it tonight to see. I know it works. We just have to figure out. I want to work out all the kinks before we go live with it next week. So,
totally. Yeah. I know scaling it and solving some of those new problems, the technological parts of actually being together with people at a distance.
There's some challenges there for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious, let's say that someone's listening to this right now and, they've maybe dreamt of owning their own business. Maybe they were working somewhere before and they got laid off. I know for me, I've only been fired from one job before, and that was an incredible catalyst to me really needing to go full force and start the company. So Common Sense Events was started directly after I got fired from a serving job. And that serving job was kind of where I felt comfortable, right? And so I made a mistake. I didn't card somebody. It was a yard house, and they're very strict about carding people. And I was moving fast. I overlooked it. And so I got fired. And that was really that big push, right, that I needed to get this thing going. Talk to the person who is, they filed for unemployment or whatever, but they've wanted to start their thing. Where would you start? Are we starting in a mindset thing? Is there a couple different questions that you ask yourself when looking at the viability of a new business? Where would you encourage someone to start? Maybe it's even listening to your podcast or reading an influential book. Where would you tell someone to start?
Yeah, that's a great question. And there are going to be a lot of people that are out of work right now. So it's a very relevant question. So my take on this is there's a lot of different business opportunities out there, a tremendous amount, more than ever before, right? So tons of opportunities. So what is the thing that someone can do that can give them the best chance for success? And I would say, and may sound cliche, but this is truly the way I live it, would be investing in themselves. So if they've never been in a personal development, I would have them go. So I was mentored by Tony Robbins and spent a lot of time with him. I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins and some of his programs. I would say go start developing yourself and go start investing yourself. So that if they're listening to your podcast, they're already doing that. So that's number one, right? Work harder. I think John Moran said this, work harder on yourself than you do at your job. So the challenge is most people spend 8-10 hours at their job, but they'll go spend 20 minutes learning, right?
Yeah,
and so it's
totally.
Yeah. So it's we need to work on it. So what I've done, I've spent a tremendous amount of time and money just developing myself, going to every seminar that I could. I've read a ton of books. I think I spent over $300,000 in the last 6 years just on personal growth, on mentorship, on mastermind programs, on just being around the people that that are successful. So I'd say number one, go do that. Go start investing. Go buy a book. Think and Grow Rich is a fantastic book. Kind
Napoleon
of a
Hill,
good
classic.
starting. Yep, totally. It's a great classic book to just get the mindset in the right place. And then, so once you start investing and knowing that that's the primary thing, I would say second thing is start to build a couple of mentors. Go find some associations. I truly believe you are who you hang out with. It's been game changing for me, going and finding people that are like the person I want to become. And go start to build, go find one person and ask them to be your mentor, one business person, and say, hey, would you mind mentoring me? And then you can run some of your new business ideas through that person. And so if you don't have those, books are a great way to have kind of mentorship. Obviously having a live person is great, but if, again, just learning and being mentored through books or through podcasts or through other people. And the third thing would be just executing, going and finding something and not overthinking it. You know, going and finding an industry that you like and that you would enjoy being in, and then go start taking action on it, like right away. There's a lot of people that think about it. Like if you're listening to this podcast and you want to start a business, pick something and start. I have a saying, CCC, constant course correction. Mm-hmm. So life is all about constant course correction. So go find that business, go start it tomorrow, and then start course correcting daily. Like, oh, that didn't work, and continue just to make progress instead of having progress versus perfection, right? Make the progress. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. And so just take action. Go start the thing that you wanted to go start writing your book, or go get that course on carpet cleaning if you want to start a carpet cleaning company, or go start taking action on something like today, right after this podcast, right? Because I feel like execution and action, massive action, is one of the superpowers that a lot of people could be utilizing.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you ended with action. I want to go back really quick. And Skylar, you mentioned two things in the beginning there. One was focusing on yourself and kind of building yourself up, investing into yourself.
Yeah.
And then the second one was finding mentors, right? Which is kind of also investing in yourself, right? Mm-hmm. How do you tell, are there any kind of things that you ask yourself when looking to bring on a mentor or looking to buy a course or anything like that? Because there are so many things. This is something we mentioned before. You know, there's so many amazing marketers out there who will sell you a course for $1,000 or a mentorship program for $1,000 or $1,500 a month, and it's on sale for $799 or whatever. There's so many amazing marketers. How do you look at the actual quality of the content? Are there some things that you look for specifically?
I would say for anybody listening to this that wants to go do a course, be very wary of your follow through on that course. I have a friend that does some pretty incredible courses, and they're amazing. I think he said that only about 5 to 10% of people that buy the course, and they're very expensive, actually follow through with the entire course. So if you want to get a course, fantastic, but understand your habits. If you don't finish your books that you read, you probably won't finish this course. So live events are definitely my favorite. But as far as finding a mentor and looking for something, I would just go through your phone and see who you know. And like, oh yeah, Bob or Uncle John or whatever runs a successful business. And so a couple things that I do, I'm very, very cautious with the people that I choose to associate with. Very, very, very cautious, and I have strong filters. Is I make sure that they're just not successful in one area. There's a lot of one-dimensional business people, right? Super successful in business. Their marriage is crap. They're not having sex with their wife. They're not investing, or they're a poor father, or maybe you know somebody that is, a great husband and a great family man, but then he's totally poor and doesn't have money to pay the bills. So it's like, go find somebody that's built success in multiple pillars, right? Has a strong faith, has a great business, and is connected with their kids. And I mean, if you can get this, and is also physically fit and takes care of their body, like go find someone that has it all, that has done well in those 4 pillars, and then go find that as a mentor. That's kind of my filter. If I ever find someone that's really successful, I try to gauge, and if I meet with them, I try to gauge, like, do they really care about their family as much as their business?
That's great. That's totally brilliant. I love that you said that. And then that takes me to a question that I've been dying to ask, which is about kind of the balance between family and business and, your four pillars. And maybe this is a sneak peek of, what some of Rise Up Kings is about, but, you know, how, how do you, let's say someone goes out there, they find what they're passionate about, they start dumping themselves into it, right? They get the mentor. How are you balancing that and having someone who's maybe very passionately driven to that with a family or a spouse? Because sometimes that can feel like it's pulling you away. Those things can feel very much at odds, like your kids are running in while you're trying to make a business call or whatever. Right now we're home, a lot of people are doing remote work. Is there some boundaries you establish? Do you have a sign above the door? I mean, is there something practical that you can give anyone who's listening?
Yeah, very practical. So I was never willing to sacrifice the relationship with my wife, even though I struggled with it. So I understood that there's a quote in the book, The One Thing. I don't know if you've ever read that book. It's an incredible book.
Peter Thiel?
No, it's by the guy that built Keller Williams. So Keller Williams Realty, The One Thing.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
basically, and he talks about there's no such thing as balance. There's never a true thing as complete perfect balance. So something's always going to be out of balance, which is okay. So just understanding that something's going to be out of balance. And when you're starting a business, hopefully you're going to need to invest more time in your business, and your family's going to take a toll on that. But you must continue investing. So what we teach the guys at Rise Up Kings is, even though you're going to be spending more time. So as an example, when I have a pretty good lifestyle right now and a lot of balance, I would say, like I don't have to do a lot of things. And so I can spend more time with like today, I was out on a golf cart ride with the kids, and then we went to the beach. And so it's like, I have flexibility, but for the people that don't have that flexibility, they need to invest in their marriage first. So what that looks like, when I can tell when my marriage is strained, it's because I'm not investing in my wife. I'm not doing the things that make her feel loved and filling up her cup. So the way to get both of those and to do well in both those, you have to invest in both those. So if you're going to have a long work day, you want to make sure that your wife's cup is full. So how you get there is daily investments into your marriage. So what I do is I write little love notes to Jessica. So I'll get a little sticky note. I'll put a couple in her drawer. And so I'm doing these daily things. I'll shoot her a text message, say, hey, babe, just want to say how grateful I am and how thankful I am for you. I get her flowers every single week for probably the last 4 years. I've been getting her flowers. I'm doing whatever I can at doing dishes or helping out, or I'm investing daily so that her cup is full, so that when I have to go do those long hours, I'll go work 12 hours one day or 14 hours. She's not like, oh, I never get to see you. And I'm able to invest. And so she's like, okay, you've been, her cup's full. So I don't feel stressed like I'm actually neglecting my wife. She's not feeling neglected, and it's a smooth process. But if her cup is not full, and then you go work 12 hours or you go work a week straight or 2 weeks straight super hard, that's going to strain the marriage. So the way to do both is you invest daily in your marriage with your wife and make her feel loved, and you will have the space to go create and to go build something great. But you will feel guilty as you're out there hustling or spending time on the phone or going on appointments at night, knowing that you haven't been investing in your marriage. And that's a killer in business, is feeling guilty that you're not doing what you should be doing. So that will hurt your production.
I absolutely love that. It reminds me of the saying, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Kind of that idea of doing a little bit each day. I love it. It also reminds me of something that Dave Meltzer says about, doing like little bits of things every day add up, and it's the consistency of that. And I think that's, I can't remember exactly what he says, but I feel like I've heard him say that at some point, but it does seem to be a common theme. And I myself, I know, have been guilty of, trying to put a bunch of attention and then not giving attention for a while. And then it does create that strain. So That absolutely resonates with me.
And a great way too for people that are interested in doing that on a regular basis, what I found is tracking is critical to doing anything long-term and consistent. So I've been tracking, I have this spreadsheet I've been using for 6 years. We teach all of our guys this, but whatever's important to you, track it. So I track how often we have sex. So I track on a spreadsheet. I literally track how often we have sex, and I have a goal for how often that happens. And so that what's funny is my wife a couple of years ago, she actually saw the spreadsheet. She's like, "You've been tracking how often we've had sex?" I'm like it got kind of weird for a little bit, but then she understood like, oh, he's doing it because he loves me. He's doing it because he wants to increase it. So whatever you track improves. So knowing that, right? If you're trying to work out like during this time and you're not tracking your workouts, I mean, that's like a fatal flaw. Like you need to track whatever's important, because they did a study that every time that you track something, it will improve. Every time. So every time that you track something, it will improve in business numbers. Could be sex, could be working out, could be reading the Bible, could be anything. Whatever you start to track on a weekly basis or daily will improve. And so I've used that to help make a lot of progress in multiple different areas at the same time. Because sometimes like I get confused, dude. I forget things, I miss things. I'll focus on one area and totally forget about another area. But if I have a sheet or something that I can look back to daily and say, oh yeah, I totally forgot to invest in my wife. Oh, I totally forgot to read the Bible today, right? And so I have this sheet that I use that helps me to stay on track, right?
Totally. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Man, that's so cool. Well, for anyone listening, these have been some incredible tips I think you've given us, and I really encourage you guys to go check out riseupkings.com. And I know, Skylar, you guys are probably going to pivot into some more virtual components of that. And if people are looking to connect with you, and just kind of as we wrap up here, if they're looking to connect up with you, and we haven't even talked about Jessica really, but for anyone who listening or watching, Jessica has an incredible gratitude journal that my kids have enjoyed using, and they're just a very inspiring and entrepreneurial family. And so I recommend you check out what both Skylar and Jessica are doing. But Skylar, where can people find you online, LinkedIn? Where can people interface with you?
Yeah, if they want to search me, I think my Facebook is Skylar, Skylar Lewis, OC. Skylar Lewis, OC, Skylar. And then riseupkings.com is the one of the best places. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And LinkedIn. I'm just starting to utilize LinkedIn in a bigger way. And that is a powerful platform for anybody looking to do marketing for their business. I recommend LinkedIn as a growing opportunity for sure.
Definitely. I know I've definitely seen LinkedIn grow as not only with some of the marketers that I follow, but just the engagement that I've seen on that platform. And it's an older platform, but it definitely has had that staying power.
Yeah, especially now, right? Since everything's virtual, I would imagine you can't meet people in person. So what do? You go check out their LinkedIn profile, or you go check out some of their other social profiles. So I believe I see that definitely growing in the future for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Awesome. Well, Skylar, thank you so much for your time today. I know how many irons you have in the fire, and with a family and everything else that you're doing. So I appreciate you spending some time with us here today. Leave us with your favorite book that you've read this year.
Okay. And before I do that, I just want to say I appreciate you having me on, and I love what you're doing. Your desire to go impact people and what you're doing and pivoting your event company. And just, I can tell just from talking with you, man, the heart that you have, your family, and you talked about going to church, and just the person that you are, man. I'm excited to see what you create. Like I feel like you're just at the beginning stages of building something totally incredible. Even though you've created a lot of great results, like you're going to do some big things, man. I can totally see it.
I appreciate that.
For sure. One of the best books that I've read so far this year, I would say.
We're still at the beginning part of the year, I know.
Yeah,
so I'm giving you a lot.
I'm drawing a blank, but one of my favorite books is 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's an older book.
I've never seen that. Hold on a sec. I'm going to jot it down on my iPad.
It's pretty incredible, man. It's like a daily read.
Okay, so what is that again?
177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. So there's 177 of the just really concise, one-page, powerful tips of the way that world-class thinkers behave and how they think. And so for people looking to get the right mindsets of success, that is a pretty effective book.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So I appreciate the book recommendation.
Yeah.
Anyone looking for a good book to read, use this time wisely. If you're just hanging out at the house, spend more time reading books and listening to creative podcasts, and less time on Netflix. Although I know it is fun, but there's a real opportunity here. So yeah, again, Skylar, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm excited to connect more. And maybe we'll get another part 2 of this interview a little later on down the road as you guys are pivoting and working on different projects.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate having me on.
All right.